Good evening, everyone. We will now begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for blessings and protection received while participating in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Taka amahara ni kamuzo marimasu kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite sumemi oya kamu izanagi no mikoto tsukushi no himuka no tachi hana no odo no ahagi hara ni misogi hara itamo toki ni narimaseru harai dono kami tachi moro moro no magagoto tsumi kegareo harai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio Amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomo ni ame no fuchi koma no mimi furi tatete kiko shimese to kashikomi mo maosu Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Kam nagara tamachi hae mase Kam nagara tamachi hae mase Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for group Johrei. Pegando a Meishu-sama base. Teaching today is entitled Happiness from Daily Inspirations, page 52. In their pursuit of happiness, many attempt to grasp it by relying on material things. But what they seek is not there. How pitiful are those who cut the ties of happiness of their own accord and choose instead to take the road to hell. Civilization does not bring happiness. Today's world is a civilization humanity has created for itself. Endeavoring to make others happy is absolutely required in order to achieve happiness for ourselves. However, there are too many individuals in this world who think only of attaining happiness for themselves, without giving thought to the unhappy states of others. This is truly foolish attitude because in trying to reap the fruits of happiness, they are sowing the seeds of unhappiness. The true objective of spiritual teachings is to implant in one's mind a love for others, a desire to work for the welfare of others. God has given people complete freedom of choice. Our innate value and dignity lie in this gift. which causes us to differ from animals. Each person is free to elevate himself or herself and so approach divinity, just as each is free to drop to the level of the beasts. Under normal conditions, a person is at neither extreme, but it is somewhere between. Through their own choice and efforts, people bring about conditions of either happiness or suffering here on earth. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters. This evening, I would like to share the faith experience of Lily Jorge Francisco Munyama. She's from the Kapalanga Johrei Center, Luanda, Angola. Lily is a missionary and she gives service as the person in charge of Sangetsu activities. Faith experience she would like to share with us is related to the basic practice of our faith. In January of this year, as she was walking home, she was taken by a whirlpool in the street. At the moment, she was no longer the same person. She started to feel a supernatural weight, as if she were a very large person. She was left with a trembling body, high fevers, and weakness. The days went by, and everything got worse. Her belly became swollen, the size of a 9-month pregnancy. As this situation was visually awkward, she used a cloth to disguise her belly volume. She didn't urinate or had bowel movements. Not even gases she was able to pass. If she tried to eat, after just 1 or 2 bites, she was already feeling quite stuffed. She received visits from some members, but as it was at the time when the center didn't have a center head, follow-up care was scarce, and her secondary spirit spoke more loudly. 2 months later, she was worried because her situation was only getting worse. She visited hospitals for tests, but nothing conclusive was reported. However, doctors said it was a traditional disease. Thus, she went to the home of a folk healer who did her some tricks. She spent a large sum of money, but everything got worse. It looked like she was going to die. With no other way out, she returned home and found herself in a dead end, not even able to walk. She didn't even have the strength to go to the center's outer room. She had to face resembling of an animal. She acquired the stigma of death, and she was almost certain that she was going to die. To top it off, during the nights, she couldn't sleep because of nightmares. She saw ghosts that disturbed her, and a lot of noise on the ceiling of her home. She left her house and spent the night at her sister's house. One day she got up and had enough strength to visit the center. Coincidentally, the minister was visiting and introduced the new center head. That same week, she was interviewed, and after listening to her carefully, the minister told her, "Lily, the secret of our church is to deepen into the practice of Johrei. Meishu-sama started channeling Johrei even before the foundation of our church. She received guidance to deepen into channeling 10 and receiving 10 Johrei every day. Make a special donation equal to or greater than what she spent at the folk healer's house. Those folk healers' houses are called Kimbanda houses. In addition, for her to give service to deserve God's forgiveness, make daily donations and tithe accordingly. She followed the guidance, but she had difficulties in channeling and receiving 10 Johrei every day. However, her minister was following up on her. "Lily, have you been able to receive and channel 10 Johrei today?" When she would answer no, he constantly replied, "Oh, if you haven't completed your assignment, you can't leave the center today yet, okay?" One day at their headquarters, she came across another minister. and asked her to pray with Lily along with the donation she was making since her minister was absent. That minister guided her precisely the very same points her center had told her, although the latter had not made any comments to the other minister. As she began to participate in the Johrei intensive sessions, cleaning activities, and donations, she began to notice the following changes. She started to feed herself. She returned to evacuate, urinate, and release gas. Her belly was deflated. Her skin became shiny, so much so that some of her neighbors thought that she was pregnant and had given birth. The noise on the ceiling of her home and the spiritual presences that tormented her all disappeared with the spiritual cleansing that the members carry out in her home. Today she feels like a new person. To express her gratitude, she made a special donation with her full salary. With this faith experience, she confirmed Meishu-sama's power as the long-awaited Messiah for humanity. She also confirmed Meishu-sama's teaching that says that faith is only really valuable when we are happy. If we practice it but do not reach happiness, it is because the reason, infallibly, is in our own spirit. Obedience to the guidance is the key to happiness. Her commitment is to help in the salvation of others and to guide a greater number of individuals. Lily is very grateful to God, Messiah Meishu-sama, and her ancestors for being introduced to this wonderful path of salvation. Thank you very much for listening to this faith experience this evening. It's a very blessed evening, and with this concludes our evening service. Thank you very much.